right, here we go. We're back at it. Welcome into the 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. As always, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making this edition of the 49ers Report a part of your day and what we're getting into here. What the Niners must do this offseason following Super Bowl 60 to get back to championship contention. Now, ESPN put together their way too early power rankings looking ahead to the 2026 campaign, and they gave a 3-word description for each team's offseason. Kind of creative on that front, and everybody agrees on what San Francisco must do and improve upon. Now, you flip the page to the 2026 power rankings from ESPN. You have the Seahawks and the Patriots in that 1-2 spot. Just because they played in the Super Bowl, in my estimation and opinion, doesn't mean that they have to be 1 and 2. Seattle for sure. That team is damn scary. They're a wagon, and they're legit. New England Patriots, though, I thought they got exposed after playing a very easy schedule during the regular season. Now, in the playoffs, they did beat 3 top 5 defenses, but they were exposed against Seattle on the offensive side of the ball. That Seahawks-Rams NFC Championship game pretty much was the Super Bowl. I think whoever won that game was going to win the big one. That's exactly what happened. That Rams-Seahawks game was epic. I would put the Rams there at number 2. It's a shame Bo Nix got hurt and he couldn't play in the AFC Championship game, but I think the arrow is pointing up for Sean Payton's Broncos. They're in there at number 4. Buffalo Bills at 5, but they have a new head coach. This doesn't surprise me at all. The San Francisco 49ers coming in at number 6. I'll talk more about them here in just a moment, being in that 6 hole. And then 7 through 10, Detroit Lions, they have another new OC. Philadelphia Eagles, a new OC, a lot of talent. How does that new OC fare, though, with an offense that struggled mightily in 2025 and scored 19 points against the Niners in the wild card round? Jacksonville Jaguars at number 10. Can Liam Cohen continue to build? And then the Green Bay Packers, a bunch of talent. Can they at last put it all together? So my first reaction when I saw Niners at number 6, I've been telling everybody this since that divisional round loss to Seattle. The Niners in 2026 can compete for a Super Bowl. Fred Warner guaranteed that the Niners were going to win a Super Bowl in 2026. And I love the confidence. I love the belief. But when you think about this Niners team, defensively, I think they're in a good spot if they get back Fred Warner, Mykel Williams, and Nick Bosa. On offense, need to get better along the offensive line. The run game needs to improve. They need to get younger, faster, more explosive on offense, but the ingredients are certainly there. As far as those 3 words from ESPN depicting the Niners coming up this offseason, the next nucleus. The 3 words used by Nick Wagner, beat writer, covering the Niners for ESPN. And that's what the Niners need to find, right? The next nucleus. Who's going to be a part of it for a team that looks a lot different than it did 2 years ago when they lost the Super Bowl? Here's what ESPN said on the Niners here. The Niners exceeded expectations by finishing 12-5 and winning a road playoff game after a massive roster overhaul and a series of devastating injuries. Given how 2025 went, it's time for them to go hunting for more star power. Only quarterback Brock Purdy and cornerback Deommodore Lenoir have established themselves as part of the next foundation, which means it's on the Niners to find more, whether by draft, trade, or signing, to sustain success. The pass rush and receiver groups in particular need significant attention. And I certainly agree with that. And you think about what the Niners did last offseason, right? Ate more than $100 million in dead money, let a lot of veteran defensive players go. And the Niners made it a point of emphasis to get younger on defense and rebuild that side of the ball. Their first 5 picks in a row to kick off the 2025 draft, defense, 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 defense. Don't get it twisted. I do think the Niners need more on defense. Exterior pass rush, interior pass rush. What's good with corner too? Is Renardo Green the guy? Linebackers around Fred Warner, a little bit suspect. D. Winters needs to be more consistent. The safety play, I think you need a true coverage guy back there. But this offseason, it's about the Niners offense, especially if they want to come close to competing with the Seattle Seahawks. This offseason, the Niners need an injection of youthful energy, explosiveness, and talent on the offensive side of the football. And if they don't address center, left guard, if they don't rebuild that wide receiver room, if they don't get younger and more explosive and bring in players who can actually threaten that Mike Macdonald defense, they're not going to close the gap on the Super Bowl 60 champion Seattle Seahawks. Look at this core right here and how it's getting older for the Niners. If Trent Williams does come back next season, it doesn't retire, 38 years old. George Kittle, going to be 32 years old, coming off a torn Achilles. Christian McCaffrey had more than 400 touches. He'll be 30 years old next year. We'll see if Juwan Jennings comes back. I wouldn't bring him back if the price tag exceeds $15 million per year. And if you do, he doesn't help you get faster or younger because he'll be 29. And so, yes, who will be a part of the Niners' new nucleus? That's the question from ESPN. That's what the Niners must address this upcoming offseason. And that includes getting faster, younger, more explosive on the offensive side of the ball, because I actually think this defense is in a pretty good spot looking ahead to 2026. Now, I ask you that question. Who's going to be a part of the Niners' new nucleus? Who's going to be a part of the new Dub City movement? Anytime the Niners get a dub, All-Pro Fred, who dapped me up on Radio Row, was kind of shook by it. He dapped me up, dapped Grant Cohn up. He's like, best in the game to Grant. Looked at me, said, what's up? I'm like, All-Pro Fred. I want to send you a shirt. I want to send you a hoodie. Chatsports.com/DubCity. This is the hoodie design right here. And that logo is on the chest, as I've always said. The shirts, it's a different image and logo, but the same goal is achieved here. Dub City with Fred Warner throwing up the dubs. Chatsports.com/DubCity. We have sold hundreds of these shirts and sweatshirts. Thanks to everybody who's purchased one or multiple. It really helps us grow as a company and as a program. And if you continue to buy our merch, we'll continue to push out new merch. Again, chatsports.com/DubCity. Freshest design in the game. Thanks to our guy, Arnold. Here are my dream free agent targets for the 49ers, which helps them get younger, faster, more explosive on offense. These are players who can actually threaten Mike Macdonald's defense. Tyler Linderbaum, best free agency center on the market, only 25 years old. It's not like you're getting a center who's hitting free agency who's about to enter into his 30s. I think Tyler Linderbaum's best football is ahead of him. Great run blocker. That fits Kyle Shanahan's system. Alec Pierce has led the NFL in receiving yards per catch the last 2 seasons. He's 25 years old. He's fast, physical, can go up and get it, is tall with length. Kyle Pitts can play tight end until George Kittle comes back. Once Kittle comes back, he can be used as a wide receiver 3 in the slot to take over for Juwan Jennings, and he's more athletic than Juwan Jennings. Romeo Doubs has thrived under Matt LaFleur. I think that his best football is on the horizon. I know that he can play well in this Kyle Shanahan system. And then Rashid Shaheed at 27 years old, a little bit older than those 4 previous players. He is one of the more electrifying players in football at receiver and as a returner. What Tyler Linderbaum gives San Francisco here, he improves your offensive line, he improves your run game, he gives you somebody who's nasty, a mauler. He played his college football at Iowa. The Niners this offseason need to check off all those boxes as far as getting more athletic on offense, but I think they need some dogs. I think they need some guys who can strike some fear into Seattle, because it was Seattle putting the fear into the Niners with how physically they were able to manhandle the Niners. Tyler Linderbaum gives you a guy who's gritty, who will get it out of the mud, who fears nobody. Alec Pierce, you sign him to a deal. 1, he's not going to break the bank. 2, you get faster, explosive at the wide receiver spot. It helps you rebuild that receiver room. This is a player with high-end speed, 4.4 guy who's led the NFL in yards per catch the last 2 years. That helps you pop the lid off the defense. Kyle Pitts is an athletic freak who is one of my favorite players in the draft coming out of Florida a few years ago. His career been a little bit Jekyll and Hyde, but he's had no continuity at quarterback, not much continuity as far as scheme and play caller. I think that Kyle Shanahan can do wonders for Kyle Pitts' career. Let Juwan Jennings go. Kyle Pitts can be that Juwan Jennings type of player, and you can use him in a variety of ways. Is he a good blocker at tight end? No. That's why I use him as a hybrid wide receiver. Romeo Doubs, a silky smooth route runner who can also make plays downfield. He also gives you explosiveness. Rashid Shaheed, an electrifying playmaker who can change the complexion of a game with just a couple of touches throughout the course of a 60-minute ball game, because he is a threat for a house call at any time. At wide receiver, you can use him as a gadget guy at the wide receiver spot, but as a punt returner and as a kick returner, he was so dynamic for the Seahawks down the stretch. Those are players who are dream targets for me for the Niners in free agency, who really accomplish what the Niners need to do as far as improving the offensive unit this upcoming offseason. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I appreciate all of you and all of your support of the program, and we'll catch you soon here on the show.